All right, everyone, buckle up because today we are diving deep into the mind of a true business legend, Ratan Tata.
We're talking about 5 principles for success, but not just any principles.
Right, these come straight from the man who built a business empire, so we're talking real-world wisdom here, folks.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that you really can't separate his business success from his reputation.
That's true, they kind of go hand in hand.
And his first principle really sums that up. Earning with morals.
So it's more than just being a decent human being, though that's a good start, I suppose.
It's about understanding that integrity is good for business. And Tata lived that.
I was reading about how he refused to, bribe his way into a major deal.
Right, even though it was the industry standard at the time.
And supposedly it would given his company a serious edge, but he walked away.
He was willing to risk it all because that's how strongly he felt about ethical business.
And look at what happened. That decision. It practically became his trademark.
Exactly. It showed everyone what he stood for and attracted people who believed in that same idea.
It's incredible to think that what seems like the right thing to do can actually turn into a winning strategy in business.
It totally can, and that kind of segues into the next principle, which might surprise some people, the power of giving.
Okay, I'll admit, at first glance, giving away money doesn't sound like a recipe for financial success.
Right, you might think, shouldn't I be holding on to every penny? But Tata understood that strategic philanthropy, it's like an investment in itself.
Okay, so it's not just about donating money randomly. There's a strategy behind it.
Exactly. Take the Tata Group, for example.
They're known for their philanthropy, right?
Huge on it, and they focus a lot of their efforts on things like education, healthcare, and tackling poverty.
Which, when you think about it, those are all things that contribute to a more stable and prosperous society.
Precisely. So by investing in those areas, they're also indirectly investing in their own future success.
That's a really interesting perspective. It's like they're creating a better world, which in turn creates a better business environment, even for them.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that everyone benefits in the long run.
That's really powerful. But for someone who's just starting out, maybe doesn't have millions to give, how can they tap into this principle?
It doesn't have to be about huge sums of money. It's more about the mindset.
So even small acts of giving can make a difference.
Absolutely. It could be mentoring someone, volunteering your time, supporting local businesses, those kinds of things.
I like that. It's about shifting your perspective from me to we.
Right, realizing that success isn't some kind of zero-sum game.
Okay, so on to principle number 3, embracing calculated risks. This one really speaks to me. It's about having the guts to, get out there and take a chance.
Totally, but don't mistake it for reckless decision-making.
So it's not just about jumping into the unknown blindly.
Exactly. Tata was all about measured risks.
He had that great quote, something like, I don't make right decisions, I make decisions and make them right.
Exactly. He was decisive, but there was always a method to it, always a plan.
A perfect example is that whole Tata Nano situation.
Oh yeah, talk about a risk.
Creating a car that affordable for a market that barely existed, that was bold.
It was, but he believed in it. And even though it had its issues, it was still a testament to his willingness to think differently.
He saw an opportunity, analyzed the risks, and then fully committed.
That's the key takeaway. So many people are paralyzed by fear, too afraid to even try.
And then they end up missing out on potentially amazing opportunities.
Exactly. It's a tough cycle to break out of.
Okay, let's move on to principle number 4. Respecting your decisions. This one sounds pretty self-explanatory, but I'm sure there's more to it.
Definitely. This is about being thorough in your decision-making process, doing your homework, weighing your options. But then once you make that decision,
You stick with it.
you commit, even when doubts creep in or things get tough.
Because second-guessing yourself can be just as bad as not deciding in the first place, right?
Absolutely. It can be paralyzing.
So it's about trusting your judgment, obviously, after you've put in the work and carefully considered everything.
Trusting your gut and having the courage to see it through.
Makes sense. All right, on to the final principle, and it's a classic. Smart and diverse investments.
It's classic for a reason. It works, and no one demonstrates this better than Tata and the Tata Group.
I mean, they're involved in everything, from cars to software to tea. It's pretty amazing.
That's the whole point of diversification. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Spreading out the risk.
Exactly. So even if one area takes a hit, you're not completely sunk.
And you don't need to be a billionaire to apply this principle, right?
Not at all. Even if you're just starting to invest, thinking about diversification is key.
It's about making smart choices, spreading your bets, and managing risk.
Precisely.
What's really resonated with me throughout this whole deep dive is how applicable these principles are to so many areas of life, not just finance.
Oh, absolutely. They're really about having a solid foundation for success in general.
So much wisdom packed into these 5 principles. It's really got me thinking.
That's what we want, right? So as you reflect on Ratan Tata and his incredible journey, think about which principle resonates most with you and how you can apply it, not just to your finances, but to your relationships, your career, your personal growth. The possibilities are endless.